back to Better Kansas City. Now, the bride is front and center on the big day. So is the groom, right? It's okay for guys to be picky when choosing the look for themselves and his teammates. And here with fun facts and hardcore truths about formal looks is wedding guru and author of Wonder-Filled Weddings, Michael Nolte. So first off, welcome back to Better Kansas City. I wish I would have gotten the tux memo. We could have both sat up here and looked like James Bond. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, or George Clooney lookalikes. Or
exactly.
Or wannabe lookalikes.
Or wannabe lookalikes is probably closer to it, yes. But, well, first off, what are your top three things that you would urge or encourage men to do for their wedding day?
Easy things to remember. Number one is a man's tux shirt should always be white, regardless if the bride's dress is ivory or blush or a latte. The men's shirt should always be white. Otherwise, it looks kind of muddy and not crisp. Second thing would be that all of the men in the bridal party should be wearing the same tux. It's kind of gimmicky to put the best man in something, the groomsmen in something, the ushers in something, the fathers in something, the ring bearers in something, have all the guys be alike. With the differentiation being that the groom's boutonniere, of course, would be different than everyone else's, and his boutonniere is usually a flower that has been carried in the bride's bouquet.
Oh, okay.
And then the last thing I'd say is that typically accessories for groomsmen and the groom should be more subtle rather than stand out. The idea of having colors match the bridesmaids' dresses is much more prom-y-like, and so it could be a black and white herringbone or a check or something like that, but keep the accessories more monochromatic.
So simple and matching with rest of the groomsmen. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about, let's go to the tux here itself. What's the difference between just a suit jacket and a tux?
Well, actually, we're identifying that right now, Bill. The difference between what I'm wearing today is one of my tuxes and your suit, which I have lots of, is the use of satin. Okay. So on a men's tuxedo, you'd have a satin stripe on the leg. You'd have satin at the waist, whether it be the waistband or a cummerbund, and satin always on the lapel.
On the lapels, and that always sets it off, makes it a little bit more shiny, a little bit more polished look.
And as a result of that, then because of that shine, you'll always want to wear a shoe that's maybe a patent leather or a very high gloss black leather as well.
Okay. What about the shirts and suspenders? You already talked about, obviously we want to wear the white shirts and everything, but there's again a lot of accessories that you can put with it, whether it be the suspenders, whether it be different bow ties or colors. Well, that's a question. I'm gonna throw you a curveball here.
Okay.
Do you want to match what the bridesmaids are wearing in your bow tie or in your tie?
No. Keep it
simple.
Monochromatic. Okay. Exactly. Yep.
KISS. Keep it simple. Silly.
Yeah, there we go. Yep.
Okay. Well, what about vests and cummerbunds and the whole
shirts and things like that? Shirts for tuxedos would never have buttons on them. They would always have studs on them, like I'm wearing today. Shirts. The best tuxedo shirt is made of a fabric called piqué, which is the shirt I'm wearing right now. Piqué all the way around. If that doesn't fit into the budget, then you have what's called a bib front. And so the bib front is either a bib of piqué, which is just like paper towels fabric, or a bib of little tiny pleats across the front. Ruffles are out.
Ruffles are out.
But a bib front.
When were ruffles in?
That was an 80s prom thing for sure. Yeah, for sure.
And then what's the preference for ties for the bridal party? And then talk a little bit about collar stocks. I know there's different collars that are available when you get your tux put together.
Two kinds of ties. One are what we would call the Windsor tie, which is a regular long tie, or a bow tie. I prefer bow ties for men in bridal parties because it makes them kind of stand out from the guests, and I like that. Plus, I think it's kind of cool that, later in the evening, if the guy wants to untie his tie or his date wants to, then you can have this cool little effect,
And you always look cool when you untie your bow tie, right?
Oh, totally. Well, I'd like to think so anyway. But that's cool. So I'm a nut so that if we're going to have a bow tie, it's got to be a real one. You can't have a fake clip-on or strap-around tie. And the various collar shapes are this, which is a spread collar, or the stand-up wingtip collar. And both of those work real well, but this type of bow tie would only be best with a real bow tie. And I have to tell you, my experience in learning to tie a real tie was not an easy lesson. There's 9 steps in tying a bow tie, and on step 7, for about 6 months, my fingers became all thumbs, and it just jumped out like a jack-in-the-box.
I'll tell you how I learned to do it is YouTube.
That's how I...
And there was one YouTube video that did it and made it click.
Was it that guy in that men's fashion store down in Birmingham?
It was some 14-year-old kid in England. I'm not joking. That's how I learned to tie a bow tie.
It takes a while, and yet people would think that I could tie them on someone else. So like if I'm, back with the groom and the groomsmen, and 20 minutes before the wedding's about to start, and they're doing this, they think I cannot tie it. I've got a buddy who can tie it on somebody else, but I cannot. I've still got to use a mirror.
We'll have to, Michael Nolte and I will have to put together how to YouTube and tying your bow tie. Of course, we appreciate you being here and all the great information you have for all of you grooms out there getting ready to get hitched.
And we've got this whole...
Oh, okay, we'll tell you what, we'll have to do that next time.
We'll do it.
We'll do it next time. Belinda, over to you.